Welcome to another episode of Another Perspective with me, aka Ronnie Chong, and my co-host, Istvan Cutthroat. And you'll kind of understand, seasoned listeners are going, what's going on here? Yeah, all my posts on LinkedIn were kind of removed as well. So, yeah, you can understand why we're doing this. So we'll let you know what's going to be covered this week. The news, Serbia protests, Jaguar. If you could go woke, you could end up broke. Chinese universities, European Union is actively pushing Ireland to pass more comprehensive hate speech laws. InEquality.org and the attack on
global inequality.
Oh, sorry, big difference. Inequality and the attack on Claudia in Torren. Next is AI.
No, yeah.
Microsoft layoffs. Amazon's million robot milestone and AI foundation model, and digital employees in banks. Good news, Garvin. Wiser hearts. Perfect. And the fast food chain helping tackle child exploitation. Health. Blueberries. Wisdon Teeth from bio baggage to medical goldmine, and glass has 5 to 50 times higher plastic than plastic or cans. An inspiration, a brain force cafe podcast, and arguments for deleting your social media account right now. And I suppose just before we start, we mentioned the data centers last week. Istvan mentioned that, and I said, I'm going to check Dublin. And of the few places that I checked, Dublin had 108 when there's only 123 in Ireland. So that's interesting, data centers. And just on our usual pet hate, chemtrails, we had beautiful weather in Poland this week for a few days. And then, of course, they sprayed and temperature dropped about 15 degrees. Same yesterday was lovely, sun out. And I could see them last night spraying and this morning reflective, and the temperatures dropped again about 10 to 15 degrees.
Well, I just want to respond to what you said about 108 data centers in Dublin. That must consume a lot of electricity and also water, by the way. So I guess people are living in Dublin there will be large fluctuations in the net, because unless you did something particular about the electricity net, it would be impossible to cope with that. Going to Serbia, I assume most of you didn't hear about Serbia protests, but they were actually going on since November last year. Why were there protests in November last year? Because in Novi Sad, I think Novi Sad is their second largest city in Serbia, the railway station collapsed and many people died. And they were angry, and there were protests because they attributed to government negligence and corruption. So it was like the roof collapsed. Well, apparently a new building, and is everything's corrupt? It's not great. So the roof collapsed and a lot of people died. Yeah, so that's when these protests started in November, which is, 3/4 of a year ago. And now, last week, there were mass protests, especially in Belgrade. Belgrade is the capital of Serbia, and there were around 140,000 people in a rally, and they're demanding early elections and accountability from the government. Accountability that they, funded corrupt people to build the railway station and everything else. So they want immediate elections instead of the ones scheduled in 2027, which is in 2 years. Yeah? And they want government accountability. They seek justice for the victims of the railway disaster. and the resignation of several high-ranking officials. I've seen, and by the way, I took this picture of the protest. I didn't want to show you some of the really ugly ones where the police there is extremely violent and they're just beating you with these sticks on the head, and I see people where blood is streaming over their faces. It's really ugly. It's not only one day, it's each evening. All these things are happening because the people are no longer accepting the corruption in their government. So that is what's happening in Serbia.
I heard as well that at pedestrian crossings, they just keep going at the pedestrian crossings, and that's what they were actually doing as well. So hence then the military coming out beating the crap out of them. Yeah, it's sad to see. So the next one is Jaguar. Their recent Copy Nothing ad campaign launched as part of its rebranding towards an all-electric future sparked major controversy. The ad featured a diverse cast in bold, high-fashion settings with slogans like "Live Vivid" and "Delete Ordinary," but notably, it did not show any Jaguar cars or the iconic leaping Jaguar logo. This abstract artistic approach was meant to signal innovation and a break from tradition, and it backfired dramatically. The mistakes made, like there's no cars, no logo, so what are you doing an ad for? They kind of staying away from their main audience, the people that actually buy the car. I believe Elon Musk put out a tweet, do you sell cars, kind of taking the piss, which got millions of views as well. But the main thing is that their sales plummeted by 97.5% in April of 25, highlighting the severe impact on sales and market pressure. And why I want to highlight this is it just shows what the people can do. The same happened with Budweiser when they tried to do it with Mulvaney or whatever, pushing that. It just backfired. Same with this. And I wish people would do it more for all the toxic products and everything. So when people push their agenda, how change happens is when people go, not having this. This company won't survive with sales like that.
Yeah, well, vote with your purse. Vote with your feet. That is what has an impact. The rest of the stuff doesn't have an impact.
Yeah, exactly. So is it the Chinese universities is the next one?
Yeah. In 2016, which is only 9 years ago, Harvard, Oxford, and Stanford led the global research scene. Harvard and Stanford are from the US, and Oxford is from England. So 9 years ago, they were the leaders in worldwide universities. Now in 2025, 8 of the world top 10 research institutions are Chinese. The Chinese Academy of Science is number 1, Harvard is number 2, and Germany's Max Planck Institute, which is a very famous institute, is only at number 9. And Oxford and Cambridge, which is the pride of Great Britain, it's not in the top 10. That is a huge shift. Yeah? And China's dominance is built on, I find this really incredible, 9% annual growth in research and development. 9% growth in research and development. I think most Western countries have hardly any R&D spending. Yeah? So if it is 1%, it's a lot. But 9% growth here, really incredible. They have more high impact papers than the US or EU. They have global leadership in chemistry, engineering, materials, and computer science. And what is happening is that a lot of Chinese people who were trained at universities abroad are returning home en masse. It's well, I love watching travel videos, and I recently found a couple of vlogs which show things from China. If you look at, well, the main cities in China, whatever, they look extremely futuristic. It's not a poor country of peasants or whatever. That's the way Western media talk about China. It's the most advanced society we have in the world, with a lot of civilians, but that's another topic for another time. But it's like these cities, whatever, is like these folks are way, way ahead of what we call the West. So really, really important to know, so that even the young people, who go to these universities in China and they go up, whatever is, well, they're beating the Western society at every level.
Just curious, because a lot of Chinese go to all these top universities in America as well. Obviously, they'll have to learn Chinese, but will they allow them, the students of America and Europe and UK, to go to China? That'll be an interesting one to see.
Yeah, absolutely. But there are already, I know, a couple of Western professors who became professors at Chinese universities. So in that sense, they are opening up.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for everybody there, Ursula von der Leyen, the European Union is formally pressurizing Ireland to pass stronger hate speech laws, having launched proceedings against Ireland for not fully implementing EU requirements. The European Commission has given Ireland a 2-month deadline from May 2025 to address these gaps or face legal action at the EU Court of Justice. This is part of a wider EU effort to harmonise hate speech and hate crime laws across member states and expand what counts as hate speech. Ireland's current law from 1989 is seen as outdated, so the government has proposed new legislation, the Criminal Justice, it's Incitement to Violence or Hatred and Hatred Offences Bill 2022, which broadens protections and penalties. The EU's push has sparked heated debate in Ireland, with some arguing it threatens free speech and national sovereignty, while others see the new laws as necessary to protect the vulnerable groups. I mean, that's a lot of crap. I mean, at the end of the day, we're seeing people, all these illegal migrants coming out and actually killing people, raping kids, destroying everything, and I'll touch on one in a minute, in Poland, but they don't want that to be mentioned. And you see people that are actually creating, raping people getting 2 years in jail, and a person that does a tweet getting 3 years or 10 years in jail. And that's why they're doing this. They don't. So if people, the masses, became aware of all the crimes that are happening, there's no way they would allow it. So then how do you stop that? Stop the people like us actually talking about these things. And it's a shame that they are able to push things like that. It's sad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a new website launched recently, and it's called globalinequality.org. This is a picture of the homepage, and it's dedicated to research and data on equality and the core periphery dynamics in the world. Well, the word global obviously already says. It has more than 100 interactive visualization displaying the results of recent research published by a team. There's a whole team of people working on it. It's incredible what they have. It's unequal exchange, financial flows, poverty, gender inequality, climate breakdown, resource use, military power, structural adjustment, reparations, etc. So, and this is all done by volunteers. So this is not a paid site or whatever. So it's volunteers who were working for years to get these data. So if you look for data or research, go to this site. Well, we are not affiliates, so everything is free, just to show basically in what kind of world we live. Yeah. So that is called globalinequality.org.
The next one is a tough one, because the attack on Claudia in Toruń in Poland on the night of June the 11th this year, 2025. Claudia, 24-year-old Polish doctoral student at Nicholas Copernicus University, was brutally attacked in Glazian Park in Torn as she was returning home from a night shift. The assailant, identified as 19-year-old Venezuelan migrant Yomit Kart, they just have RS, stabbed her multiple times in the head, neck, and chest. A passerby intervened, causing the attacker to flee, but he was apprehended by the police less than an hour later. She was hospitalized in critical condition and fought for her life for 2 weeks before passing away from her injuries on June the 28th. The suspect, initially charged with attempted murder, now faces premeditated murder charges and is in custody, potentially facing a life sentence. The case has sparked widespread outrage in Poland, leading to public protests, a march of silence in Torun in honor of Claudia, and intense debate over immigration policy and public safety. I mean, just imagine if that was your child. Like, jail isn't enough for him. It's like, this guy needs to be tortured for the rest of his life. This is like, what a horrific crime. And the other thing is, like, what I'm hearing as well is Germany is actually bringing their migrants to the border, and it's the locals are actually manning the borders where they're coming in. So usually this place was a lot safer and everything, but when you see something like that, but the people, unlike most of the other countries, they're just kind of like, it's not affecting me, or because of the mass media doesn't show what's going on, they're not getting away with it here. It's actually getting the press. It's being publicized. So the people are going, we don't want this crap. And I just feel sorry for her friends and family. I mean, that's a horrific murder. Like, I mean, it's over 2 weeks that she was in before she passed away. And just looking in Ireland and seeing how bad it's got, England is even 10 times worse. I mean, just talking to my friends in England, I don't know, can it be reversed in England? Ireland may be on the fence, but Poland, now is the time to actually just stop all this crap. Like, and you've all these bills, and like I mentioned earlier, you can't talk about that. All of them people that are actually pushing these bills are voting against these bills. You should be protesting outside their house. You should be shunning them, like boycotting them. Don't talk to them. Highlight them. Show their faces. No normal person would allow this. It's all orchestrated and it's being pushed. And how many times are we going to see? I'm constantly seeing stuff like this. I'm seeing it in Belgium. I'm seeing it in Holland. I'm seeing it everywhere. Sweden. There's no-go zones in Sweden. And it's like, what? Society is supposed to get better, and it's orchestrated by a few rich muppets that destroy humanity. You just don't tolerate it. Don't tolerate it.
Yeah, it's happening all the time. It's happening everywhere, and don't wait until it's your family member who happens this to. Huh?
So, this is basically, we're spending hours. We mentioned it last week. We're spending hours preparing for this. It's a hard toll creating this. We like doing it. We like getting the knowledge out. We like getting the information out. We do loads of research. We look at loads of stuff before then, and we try to validate and everything. And how you can help is go to the website awakeningpodcast.org/support. There's a few different options. There's PayPal. There's Buy Me a Coffee. Look, if you can put $5, $5, five whatever your local currency per month, it really helps. It adds up. And if you can't, it's a model based on soundness. We understand that to some people, they're really struggling. But if you can, it just helps us to do this, because there's a lot of costs associated with this, between the marketing, paint, shorts, just the amount of time that goes into it. So you might think, look, I can only do a buck a month, $5 a month. That's all we ask for, because combined, it will help us a lot. So we'd appreciate any support that you can give.
Yeah, we last week we calculated it is 2 full days. Is 2 full days, and we're not getting paid for it. Is it like we love to share it with you, and we love to help you, give you the news and inspiration which you don't get anywhere else. But hey, unfortunately, we got to pay the rent and our food as well. So thank you very much for that consideration.
AI Microsoft layoffs. What's that about?
Yeah, well, this is Mr. Nadella, the CEO guy from Microsoft, and they announced last Wednesday, so just a few days ago, they announced that they eliminated 9,000 jobs. And what I'm always saying, and I think I mentioned it on the show before, it's not just 9,000 people. It impacts 18,000 people because most of them have a partner and children who are also impacted. But again, like with all the press release, nothing is mentioned like what are they going to do to help the people who get laid off. But it's their largest workforce reduction since 2023, and it's the third major round this year. The layoffs affect roughly 4% of the global workforce from Microsoft, but it's across multiple divisions, geographies, and seniority levels. They just get a notification, the employees, so it's not like someone talking with you. You get a letter, oh, you're fired. Incredible. You don't treat humans like that, yeah? Because it's their new fiscal year, so they're like, boom, we want to get rid of those guys. They, Microsoft, have eliminated 15,000 positions in 2025. So we're a half year in this calendar year. 15,000, again, impacting 45,000 people. That's a town. That's a small city. Huh? Nothing is mentioned what they're going to do. And why they're doing it is to streamline operations while heavily investing in AI infrastructure. Yeah, so they get rid of the people and they increase their AI infrastructure. So if you would be doubting what I've been sharing for weeks and weeks and weeks is that AI will take over your jobs, this is where it starts, because Microsoft is one of the largest AI companies, if not the largest. They're just getting rid of people. So this will trickle down because it starts with them, because they have the AI, the co-pilot and the model itself. Yeah? So they are like rolling things out and getting rid of people. But after Microsoft, there will be smaller IT companies and other IT companies, and doesn't matter what kind of companies, they will do the same. Yeah? But these are a negative example. Yeah? But this is where it's happened. 25,000 people or 15,000 people just this year alone. Yeah? And even what they say, because again, you might doubt what I'm saying, but this is what this guy, Nadella, was saying, is that the company has increasingly automated coding tasks. Yeah? So this is something what I've been saying. When you're a coder, when you're a computer coder, when you're a programmer, no, they automated it and say that 30%, 30, of its internal code is already generated by AI. So this is, and I mentioned a few weeks about impact on employment for folks who studied computer science, coding, everything. And like, folks, your job is on the line. You thought maybe you're not even thinking, but you think is like, my job is secured for life. I'm a computer coder. I'm a computer science guy. I'm a high-level programmer. Microsoft shows you that it's all being replaced by AI. And I'm very sad about these 45,000 people who are impacted and who are now sitting at home as like, what am I going to do? How am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay my mortgage? How am I going to make sure that my children can have a good education? How can I pay the loan of my car? Nothing these big companies, because the profit from guys like Microsoft is coming out of their ears, but nothing about how we're going to help those people. So that's why I wanted to share this.
And I mean, if you look at the whole system of the stock exchange, it's happened for years. It's like they don't take the human connection out of it. It's always about look after the shareholders, increasing profit, and they try to increase profit constantly. Is that sustainable? And then they just cut the die. It's like remove people. Oh, we're still making profit. We're still making profit. And it's just getting worse. So the next one is Amazon. It's kind of similar, really. Amazon million robot milestone and AI foundation model. A new era in warehouse automation in July 2025. Amazon announced a landmark achievement: the deployment of its millionth robot across its global operations. This milestone is not just a testament to Amazon's scale, but also a signal of how deeply automation and AI are transforming the logistics and e-commerce industry, which basically goes in hand with what you've just said. How many jobs previously were done by humans, or just, so alongside this, there's a new generative AI foundation model called Deep Fleet. This model acts as an intelligent traffic management systems for Amazon's vast robotic fleet. Deep Fleet is designed to optimize the movement of robots within fulfillment centers, improving their travel efficiency by 10%. This translates to faster packaging, delivery, reduced operational costs, and a more streamlined logistics purpose. It's kind of naming all the different things that they got. Some of the stuff might be good because it's able to lift robots, able to heavy goods and stuff like that. And we kind of had a little conversation on that about kind of like even in shops like, say, Lidl or Aldi or supermarkets where you have a lot of women working there, they're lifting heavy stuff. So the same there. Like, I think, having automation for lifting heavy goods so you're not damaging the users, that's a good thing to have. But the problem is now everything is automation and AI. And I mean, how many jobs have been reduced constantly on this? And as much as it looks great and, costs for delivery and all that, and people are getting all the stuff, what happens is all the small boys get cut out because they can't compete with this. And your local mom and pop stores are disappearing the whole time, and they have a monopoly. And you're looking at the picture for those watching. That's a robot. That's not a human bringing the bits and pieces around the place, and they're bragging, hey, we've got our millionth. How many jobs have been lost from when that company was actually building up?
Yeah, and if you were an employee working in the warehouse, it's not that you can find a new job in AI. It's like, it's again, what are these people supposed to do?
Digital employees in banks.
Yeah, one of the most conservative traditional industries is banking. So you would assume that they are not front runners in AI, but they are. So it's a bank called the Bank New York Mellon has announced that it has already deployed. So it's not a plan, it's already deployed dozens of artificial intelligence powered digital employees. So they call them digital employees that operate with human employees. So they work in that office together with thing and even have their own company login credentials. The picture you see looks like a nice lady on the front desk at the reception. It is an AI. It's a digital avatar. And similar to human employees, these digital workers have direct managers. So they report to and work autonomously in areas like coding, again, what I just said, and payment instruction validation, said Chief Information Officer Russell. Soon they'll have access to their own email accounts. So it's like, just like any other employees, like, hey, well, you get Joe at bank.com, whatever. But Joe could be a digital employee. Joe could be a real human being. And they even might be able to communicate with colleagues in other ways through Teams. So you might set up a Zoom call or a team call or Teams, Microsoft Teams, which is their communication device like Zoom. But you're talking to a digital employee. Yeah. So again, this is not the future. This is now.
And I mean, how many times have we seen where, AI has made mistakes and everything? When does a mistake made in this? The banker be like, it's not our fault. They never take responsibilities. Yeah, which would be, well, I mean, on the good side, I mean, a lot of the people working in the banks are like miserable. So it might be good for some people, but same thing. How many jobs will be? Because once they see this working across the board internationally, they'll go, what? How can we compete when we have to pay staff? They'll all replace it. So, a good news caravan, wiser hearts.
Yeah, wiser hearts. I'm going to read to you a message from the digital and civil diplomacy mission of the Republic of Vanuatu. I have no clue where. Well, I had a bit of a clue, but I took this picture from Wikipedia. It's clearly east of Australia, a group of islands, and they have their government mission. And what I'm going to read to you is that message, because I think it's a beautiful message, because it is said that it's a message to the people of Asia. Well, clearly those islands are, well, besides Australia and New Zealand, it's very close to Asia. So it's a message to the people of Asia and to the future we choose together. It reads, "The world is not calm, but the answer is not louder storms. It is wiser hearts." In India and Thailand, across ASEAN are the Asian countries, we had the same quiet question. Can we build peace without losing power? Can we lead without shouting? Can we stay human in a world of noise? Our answer is yes, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. We believe in Asia as a rising force, not just in markets and megacities, but in moral imagination. We believe in the wisdom of women, in the dignity of quiet strength, in the power of those who choose bridges over blades. To our friends in India, in Thailand, in Cambodia, in Indonesia, you're not alone. We are building this future with you. Not above, not below, but beside you. Let us be the century of hearts, of calm minds, of civil courage, of diplomacy with soul. And then it's signed by the Trade Mission of the Republic of Vanuatu by a person, Mr. and Mrs. Nazareth. I thought this is so empowering and so positive that even a government official from a group of islands where most of us have never heard of, and they try to, together use wiser hearts and create a better world together. And thought, I hope that it is an example. It doesn't matter where you live or who you are, we all can contribute. And this is what this government official from this very, very remote small island group is trying to build a better world. I think that should be encouraging and inspiring for all of us.
A lot of digital nomads might start moving there after hearing that. The next one, perfect. Well, I suppose I'll start off with just kind of saying my own experience. I've had cats all my life. We've had a load of cats, and there's nothing nicer than the cat sitting down just purring on you. You know, it's a soothing effect. And so a website has designed an artificial purr engine that plays customizable cat purring sounds to calm you or your kitty during moments of turmoil. We can't always have a purring lap cat with us, but Purrly, PURRLI.com, is a good, dare I say, perfect solution, right? The internet has a cat, says the Purrly. Visitors can start a purring sound and use the sliders to change whether it's playful, excited, purr, or sleepy, breathy purr. The sound of a purring cat is one of the most comforting sounds available and can help soothe and calm you down when you're feeling stress. Purrly tries to recreate both the sound and the presence of your very own virtual cat through a custom sound engine modeled after real purrs. And then one user said, I foster kittens sometimes, and I recently got 3 kittens, little fellas without a mother. They were really rowdy and didn't really purr much, so I decided to play the purring for them. When I came back to check on them, they were all sleeping around the speaker, happily purring along with the recording. It really helps calm them down. I play it now all the time. And another one, a college freshman, it helps them through moments of panic. I couldn't tell you how many times I've used this cat purr to counter a panic attack. Turning this on for even 5 minutes makes the tension spiral out of my shoulders. So there's a few different advantages to that. Those that have experienced a cat purring on your lap who mightn't have a cat now, there's a way that you can go on. And I just think it's a nice thing to be offering. And it's free.
Well, I was thinking, well, you mentioned the example is like all these people who are currently being labeled with a mental illness, for anxiety or depression, they just should get this, what's it called? The device or something.
Yeah, Purrly, yeah.
It's much better than using some medicine which makes you addicted, makes you more numb, and has a lot of side effects. And I say, well, buy this thing. It's by far better. And your student example proves this.
Okay. So, fast food chain. What's that one about? That sounds interesting.
Yeah. The name is Chicken Cottage. Apparently, it's all around the UK. It's a fast food chain which is helping child exploitation. It is estimated that crime and violence puts 1 in 24, 11 to 17-year-olds in England at risk of exploitation, while fewer than half of secondary school children in the country feel safe in their communities after dark. So they did a training program for the staff in that fast food chain to monitor, to see whether all the kids are okay. So that is a program with it, and apparently it's a big change. So it's all over England. People are being trained to monitor, like, well, are these people really here, or are they afraid, or are they used as, well, I'm not even going there, but for all kinds of nasty purposes where children are currently used for. And this chain is trying to reduce that and help children and focus on that. So I think it's a really, really very good initiative.
And the fact that it has chicken is a good thing. People might find that strange, but the KFC, which used to be Kentucky Fried Chicken, could no longer say chicken because it wasn't chicken. They had their own kind of chickens that they made, whatever way they were doing it, without feathers and things like that. So they had to remove the word chicken. So, yeah, obviously support franchises that are doing things like this instead of the ones that are actually just kind of giving you toxic stuff.
Yeah, but also it's like they're helping their community. And so it's well, it's not bringing in money for them. And so it's like truly helping children. Yeah. So I think this is a really, really nice initiative. Unfortunately, it's necessary.
So, blueberries.
Yeah, well, I saw in my farmer's market where I go each week that they are in season right now. Yes, well, in supermarkets it look like they're in season all year, but that's when they're imported from all over the world in planes and boats and whatever. But here it's like I can see whether in which month or week or whatever, it's really natural. So now, if I now go to the farmer's market and I can see it, if I go 3 months earlier, there are no blueberries, and a month later they will be gone. The blueberries are really good. Eating just 100 gram, which is not much, is not even, I guess, a handful of it, 4 or 5 days a week can boost your brain performance, reduce heart attack risk by 32%, and improve insulin sensitivity. And they taste good. Yeah, I really last week I consumed a kilo. Yeah, so it's really really good for you. So they're now in season, well, at least in the northern hemisphere. So buy them and eat some blueberries.
Son loves them, and the problem is with the supermarkets. You buy them, and the next day they're just all gone off whatever they're spraying them with. So it's like just crap. So the next one, the Wisdom Teeth, from bio baggage to medical goldmine. Most of us think of wisdom teeth as a painful rite of passage, unless molars that cost a fortune to remove. But new research is flipping out that script. It turns out that these teeth are packed with a special kind of stem cell that could one day help regrown bone, heart tissue, and even neurons in the brain. The magic happens in the soft center of the tooth, called the dental pulp. Scientists at the University of Basque Country in Spain, led by Dr. Gascon Ibaletec, have shown that stem cells from this pulp can be transformed into different cell types, including neuron-like cells that actually fire electrical signals just like real brain cells. This opens up the possibility of using wisdom teeth stem cells to repair damaged brain circuits, potentially helping people recover from injuries or diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. What makes these dental stem cells so special? For one, they grow and multiply faster than stem cells from bone marrow, and they're easier to get, no painful injections required. They're also being shown to help repair heart tissue in animal studies, and they lay down bone and cartilage in neat, organized layers, which could be a game changer for joint repair. From a practical standpoint, wisdom teeth are an ideal source. Almost everyone has them, and they're usually removed when we're young, meaning the cells inside are still healthy and flexible. Every year, about 10 million wisdom teeth are pulled in the US alone, and instead of tossing them, companies like Stemodonics now offer kits so you can bank your tooth's stem cell for future use. This process is simple. Your dentist pops the boot in a vial, ships it on dry ice to a lab, and the cells are preserved potentially as a form of cellular insurance for future medical treatments. Because these are your own cells, there's no risk of rejection, and if the science pans out, storing them now could save you tens of thousands of dollars on future therapies. The field is still young and more research is needed, but wisdom teeth right now just may be the most valuable bio baggage you'll ever have. So that's an interesting one, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Oh, this is an interesting one for me based on what I said last week.
Yeah, I knew I was going to do that, but I keep my mouth shut because it shows how difficult it is to trust media or whatever media, because this is a research by the French, and it showed that glass had 5 to 50 times higher plastic than plastic or cans. The French tested water, soda, beer, iced tea, lemonade, and wine sold nationwide, and found that glass bottled beverages carried far more plastic shrapnel than plastic bottles or cans. And it's been published here in a scientific journal. You can see it's even dated August, so it very, very recently. I think we can fairly conclude, Ronnie, that there's plastic in everything. So it's really, we've been bombarded with plastic, and it's you talked about the spraying in the air, the bioengineering, the food. That's why they find, like, I think it's like a teaspoon of plastic in our brains. And so it's basically everywhere. That is the message, and so it's really, really be careful in what you consume and how you consume.
Well, this is one that's interesting. But the other thing is, like, how is it published for August when we're currently in July? So that's, I don't know what way they do these things.
That's the way they always do. Is like, this is the official thing which comes out in August.
Okay. But like, you would think in the melting process of glass that if there is plastic, it would just melt and disintegrate or something like that. But I mean, I would never have thought of that. So that's kind of scary, because obviously we know the interaction with plastics in drinks and everything. So, yeah, attacked again in every direction.
Absolutely.
Rainforest Cafe podcast.
Have you heard about that? Yeah, you are the podfather. Have you heard about the Rainforest Cafe?
I haven't not.
The Rainforest Cafe is a podcast by Mr. Dennis McKenna. He has a brother called Terrence McKenna, but he passed away. They're very famous thing. Dennis McKenna is, I think he's in his 70s, not his 80s. Incredibly lively, incredibly wise man. So only for that reason I recommend this podcast. But it's mostly about Etna. He calls what he does. He has an academy, and again, this guy is in his 70s. It's called the McKenna Academy of Natural Philosophy, and a lot of his guests are around psychedelics, ethnobotany, like how we can use nature to heal ourselves, or heal people who have trauma or PTSD or depression. And there are a lot of research going on. Here is the latest one is an interview with Andrew Gallimore, and he's apparently one of the, if not the most expert in DMT. DMT is also a natural substance which is used, which can help people be cured and everything. So why am I sharing this? Well, I highly recommend it, and for a couple of reasons. It's very interesting. It's really what we call an old man, but if you listen to me, it's like, wow, it's really, really interesting. But what I noticed is that not only people in a certain thing. I was last week talking to a friend of mine about psychedelics. He had never heard about psychedelics. You see, I think that's sad, because psychedelics is, the use of it is, in a lot of countries it's illegal, which makes you wonder, because it cures, it heals people. So why is it illegal? Well, the question, posing the question, is answering it, because it goes against the medical establishment, because they want to sell their pills and products, and people using psychedelics, they don't need any medicine. And so that is one of the reasons. But it's not only to cure, like, people with trauma or problems, whatever. I think, and I hope to see some new things, is that it also, I think, it would help us to together create this better future, which this guy from this island group was saying, is like, we're so stuck in our ruts, in our own way of behaving, in our belief systems, in everything else that we need to open up. I think psychedelics can prove a lot too. It's very interesting, this podcast. Yeah, it's called the Brain Force Cafe. Highly recommend it.
And for those that are interested in psychedelics, I cover that on the meditation podcast. So you find it on meditationpodcast.org, or just scan the QR code. Lots of people coming on, going into detail on their own experience in different types. So it's worth checking out. So this is one book that I just finished, and based on a recommendation for a guy that we interviewed, Benjamin, I forget his surname, but he had mentioned this, and I got it, and it's why Jaron Lanier says you should delete social media. The book is a bold wake-up call about the hidden costs of social media. He argues that platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram aren't just harmless tools. They're powerful systems that manipulate our behavior, erode our well-being, and reshape society in troubling ways. Loss of free will. Social media algorithms are designed to hijack your attention and subtly shape your choices, making you less in control of your own mind. These platforms thrive on outrage, polarization, and misinformation, making it harder to find truth or have meaningful conversations. Social media often brings out the worst in us, encouraging trolling, shaming, and performative outrage. Mental health. Heavy social media use is linked to 70% increase in depression symptoms among teens, higher anxiety, and even increased suicide risk. As Lanier famously says, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Your data and attention are being sold for profit. And I mean, a lot of people don't take that into account. They just say, hey, this is free. Nothing's free. Why it matters. Social media makes it harder to be authentic and erodes your capacity for empathy, as online interactions lack nuance and emotional depth. Users provide free labor and data, while platforms reap the profits. Deeply inequality and addiction and dependence. Over half of teens say they find it hard to give up social media, and many report feeling anxious and depressed because of it. Lanier's message isn't about quitting social media. It's about reclaiming your autonomy, mental health, and dignity in a world increasingly shaped by algorithms. He invites us to imagine a digital future that values truth, empathy, and real connection. You have the right to your own thoughts, your own time, and your own soul. Don't give them away for free. So, interesting book, very kind of pushed on the left. So if you're a Trump follower, probably wouldn't like this book. He's believes in the climate. There's a lot of other things, but what I do on things like that, I mean, you can't agree with everybody and everything. Extract the best from something. So it's an interesting read.
And to add to that, what we discussed that before we started recording is, I think Jaron Lanier is even one of the top research directors in Microsoft. So that makes it even much more interesting what you just said. Eh?
Yeah.
So he is real high up the hierarchy in Microsoft.
Exactly. Well, that's it for this week. You might just go back to our lovely Dalmatian picture there. Esteban. And just finally, as I said earlier, look, that's how you can support us. As you can see, we cover a lot of stuff. We do it like I'm learning from Esteban. He's learning from myself, Ronnie. And by doing that, we're benefiting ourselves, but we're also benefiting you. And just research deep. Just have a look at different things, and not just from us, from anything that you listen to. Don't take anything for granted. Just go away and start delving deeper and deeper. And just because you do a ChatGPT or whatever, a lot of the times lies will come up. So make sure you go a few layers deeper. You can support the show. There's a Buy Me Coffee. There's PayPal. Go to awakeningpodcast.org/support, or even if you want to sponsor the show, as long as you're not Red Bull, McDonald's, or any of these betting companies are toxic. We won't even tolerate that. But if you're a decent company, we accept that. And I mean, you scan the QR code. I've got a load. I've got millions of downloads with all the different shows. Open to sponsorship and anything like that. So every penny helps. So we'd really appreciate your support. So thanks for listening. And until next week, take care.